Well, on the road to recovery in Arizona with Brian Lynch. I know I always say it, good friend like a brother, but this kid, he really is. He's one of my best friends. What a crazy story you're about to hear right now. Mr. Brian Lynch.
Hi, my name is Brian. I'm a person in long-term recovery, and what that means for me is I haven't used a drink or a drug since July 7, 2014. And where it all began for me, definitely from a younger age, I realized, I definitely felt different and out of place from other people my age. I have pictures of me as a young boy drinking a beer in my poppy's lap when I look back on it. But when it really started for me, when I actually started using substances for the effect of it, I was at age 12. And I recall actually the first time I was drinking Bacardi 151, and I just wanted the voices in my head to stop feeling different than, stop feeling less than, and I wanted to feel part of, and that's where it all started. It didn't work out good. I decided I wasn't going to drink because I was sick for 3 days, and of course the next weekend I was drinking again, so it didn't work out well for me. Well, the progression was kind of slow in the beginning. Like I said, the next weekend I was drinking. It started out with weekends just drinking and then smoking marijuana. It wasn't until about age 14 I started using other substances like cocaine, and from there it just gradually switched to different substances. And the ironic part is I really didn't like any of the substances. I only liked what they did to me and how they made me feel inside for a couple of minutes or a couple hours, whatever it is, not feeling how I should have normally felt or what I thought I shouldn't have felt. And then it really took off when I was prescribed prescription pain medications at age 17 for a laceration to the leg from a sword injury. What happened with that is I was already abusing them, but I didn't have an unlimited supply of them. So what happened is I started realizing I could take 5 or 10 at a time and never run out because I would just refill my prescriptions. And that led up to, that was age 17. At age 19, I got in a 90-mile-per-hour head-on-head car accident. And then I was really prescribed unlimited amounts of Oxycontin, 80 milligrams, and everything else. So everything in my life revolved around drugs at that point. I was really tricked because I thought it was okay because it was prescribed from a doctor. And I come from a medical family, so I thought prescriptions were okay. What happened next was, I actually ran out of them because I was abusing them so frequently. And I remember I had a college final, and I ended up trying heroin because I needed to function. And I couldn't function without an opiate in my system. And that just took me in a downward spiral. I mean, it didn't lead me to jail or anything, but it led me to a couple psych institutions, suicide attempts and things of that nature. Stealing from family, disappointing everyone that loved me, pushing everyone away, isolation. So, I've kind of been around recovery. I was at school, I was always involved with natural helpers, I was involved with certified peer educating in college, but the thing for me was it took me outside of myself, kind of like drugs. So I was doing it to be brought outside of myself by helping other people, and I really never thought I was worthy of being helped, or I didn't think I was actually able to be helped because I thought I was just so far down. But what happened for me is in 2008 I was introduced to a treatment center for dual diagnosis, and that's where my journey of recovery started to begin. Once I started learning more about the disease of addiction. What the treatment center did for me is it made me realize I wasn't alone, and there were many other people out there, and that it's a disease and it's not something to be ashamed about, and it's something I could embrace and I could use to help other people. That journey got momentum from being around people in recovery, going to meetings, doing step work, just helping other people and knowing other people were doing the same thing. And like I said, I always had a feeling of being alone. Well, I wasn't alone anymore. And that's really when it took off. What recovery is like for Brian Lynch today, it's absolutely beautiful. Recovery has given me a life beyond my wildest dreams. I know people say that all the time, but in my case, I definitely feel it's true. It's not about having money or taking vacations, because I like that stuff too, but what it's really about is how I feel inside my heart. Knowing I'm doing the next right thing, knowing I'm trying to help people, knowing I can put my head on the pillow at night and I didn't hurt anybody. And know I have some pure intentions. So what recovery is like for me today, it's absolutely beautiful. I just show up. I have amazing friends in my network today, which I never thought of friendships having like this before. My family is great with me now. Career-wise is great. Everything is just beautiful today. In the midst of my addiction, I've had 7 suicide attempts where I've been on life support in ICU. Looking back, I would have told myself to stop digging because, I knew I was an addict from age 12 when I had that first encounter with alcohol, and 3 days later, 4 days later, when I said never do it again, I'm doing it again. What I tell myself is it's not worth it, and it's not going to be all fun. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was fun in the beginning, but that ended real quick, because no matter what, I still went back to those feelings, and until I addressed them, they were always there. Oh, why PR? So young people in recovery, I'm sure you know what it is, everyone, but it's a nonprofit organization that empowers people in recovery through education, housing, and employment. There's done some research around it, and with those 3 areas, people's chances of recovery and sustainability are a lot greater. So I'm the chapter lead here for Arizona. It's the Tempe chapter. It's the only chapter in Arizona. We're doing amazing things. Narcan just got passed for the ability for layperson access. We don't know where the funding's going to come from yet, but one step at a time. We're in the process of starting a recovery high school. Just amazing things are going on. It's kind of funny because I always thought I was so different and not understood, and once I was able to realize that I was just like everyone else and that people understood me, that was a powerful thing for me, and I realized other people need that too, and that's how I'm able to reach out to other people, just identifying compassion, empathy, and love. My message is we never really know what life could be like until we give it a shot, and I have been blown away by the opportunities I've had since entering recovery. One of the main things for me and where the suicide attempts happened was I had gotten raped by 5 men in a drug deal gone bad with one of my roommates. They came in and took turns raping us. And it's something I never felt I was able to talk about until I was freely able to talk about it and identify that it wasn't my fault. I always blame myself for some reason, although I had nothing to do with it. But to reach out to other people that have been molested as kids or similar situations, even women that's happened to, that's a very powerful thing. Just being able to identify with the suicide fact, just being able to identify with not going to jail and, not thinking I'm done, but obviously all these other things that happened to me too. So identifying with people that haven't gone to jail, because some people think you're not an addict if you don't go to jail, and I just have a different experience, and we all have different experiences in past, and I think it takes a certain person to relate to certain people. Try not to think about the future, but where can I see myself? I can see myself living on the path of recovery, reaching out, helping other people, always being involved in whether it's community organizations, advocacy work, 12-step fellowship, service work, always being surrounded by people in recovery, because that's where I find the greatest joy, and that's where I find the most beneficial experiences to my life.
Well, there you have it. On the road to recovery in Arizona with Brian Lynch shows us that you can have a new life. I hope he's inspired you. I hope you share his story to inspire other people. Please, as the sun goes down on this day of recovery, look forward to another day, another trip, another day on the road to recovery. We'll see you from somewhere else. I'm Michael De Leon.